Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of The Probe. We are live on DSTV, Channel 421, GoTV 125. And of course, we're also live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and more than 30 affiliate stations across the country. We're also live on social media at all Joy News on TV and around the world. We are on myjoyonline.com. Tonight, congratulatory messages are pouring in for the NPP's newly elected flag bearer. I'm talking about Dr Mahamudu Bawumia. After a bruising 6 months of internal battle defined by intense, campaigning loaded with sharp accusations, counter-accusations, and, of course, relentless nationwide mobilization. It was one of the fiercest presidential primaries in the party's recent history. So heated that some feared the aftermath could have been disastrous for the party's unity. But the verdict is finally out and clear. The NPP has once again chosen its former flag bearer and vice president to lead the party into the 2028 general elections. It's a major win for Dr Bawumia, but the real contest starts now. Can he turn this internal party victory into a national victory for the NPP? What new strategy does he bring to the table? And most importantly, what has the NPP itself learned, lost, and must fix on the road to 2028? We'll get into that shortly. First, let's give you a breakdown of Dr Bawumia's performance in the just ended primaries, plus compare his 2023 showing with the 2026 result, to assess what they really reveal about his popularity within the NPP. We'll also find out why the other contenders fell short, despite bold assurances. So on your screen, we'll have that graphics there, the 2026 presidential primaries final result. You see all 5 of them on the screen. Ken Acheampong managed some 23.76% of the total vote. Bryan Acheampong, first time, aspirant in this particular, contest, managed 18.53%. Then the man in red, Dr Mahamudu Bawumia, the former vice president, he managed to pull 56.48% of the vote. Then comes Dr Osae Kwapong. He secured 1.02% of the vote. And Dr Acheampong got 0.21% of the vote. Now, let's look at the 2023 NPP presidential primaries, the final result, compared to what we've seen yesterday. In 2023, Bawumia polled 61% of the vote, and closely followed by Ken Acheampong. He managed at the time 37% of the vote, and Ekua Amoakoh polled 0.76% of the vote, and Adainimo at the time 0.41% of the vote. Now, the presidential primary, Dr Bawumia's performance in 2023 and 2026, that's what you see on your screen. In 2023, Dr Bawumia polled 61.4% of the vote. Now, let's come to 2026. You see the figure on your screen. He dropped to 56.4%, a 5 percentage point drop for Dr Bawumia there from 2023. Let's also look at Ken Acheampong's performance in 2023. He got 37.4% of the vote. Now in 2026, he also dropped significantly, I should say, 23.7% of the vote, a 13.7 percentage point drop for Kennedy Acheampong. Now, let's go back and look at Dr Bawumia's top 5 regions in 2023. You see clearly there, the Northern region gave him 80.50%. Eastern gave him 35.70%. Ashanti gave him 65.60% in 2023. And at the NPP headquarters, he got 64.00%. And in the Western region, you see he got 59.70% of the vote. That was in 2023. And these were top 5 of the regions that got him that figure we mentioned earlier. Now let's come to 2026. Let's look at the top 5 for Dr. Bawumia. Northeast gave him 92% of the votes. And Northern region followed closely. Savannah followed closely. Then comes Bono East, 69%, and Upper West. What is important in this particular graph is that Ashanti region, which used to be top, did not show up in this 2026 result. We'll find out why. Now let's look at Ken Acheampong's 2023 result also. He got 63% of the vote from the Central region in 2023, and Volta also gave him 53% of the vote. Greater Accra gave him 47% of the vote in 2023. Western North, 40.70%, as well as Bono in 2023. Now, let's look at that in this year, 2026 result for Ken Acheampong. Central region vote reduced. This time he got 47% of the vote. Western North gave him 38%. NPP headquarters, 33%. And Greater Accra, 31.22%, and Ashanti, 25% of the vote. Now, the NPP presidential primaries, number of regions won. If you look at the candidates, the other 3 are not in this one, but the top 2, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, in 2023, he won 14 regions. And in 2026, he again won 14 regions. Now let's look at Kennedy Acheampong in 2023. He won 2 regions, but this time in 2026, he has won 1 region. Now the turnout for the primaries, as you see there, stands at 93%. And these are the statistics we'll be sharing with you. Well, joining me in studio this evening, we have Dr. Osae Kwapong. He is a political analyst and researcher. He joins us live in studio. So grateful for your time here this evening.
My pleasure.
Now, closely next seated to Doc is another doctor. She is Dr. Ekua Amoakoh. She speaks for Deputy Spokesperson for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Great to see you in studio this evening.
Great to see you here as well.
And we also have another doctor, Ekua Amoakoh. He's not a doctor. He's a spokesperson for Bryan Acheampong. Grateful to have you in studio tonight.
Thank you.
Right, you can also join the conversation this evening by going to our live stream to, give us your message, what you think of the NPP's performance of the poll that ended just yesterday. My name is Carlos Caloni. We are live on Joy 99.7 FM and also on Joy News. We'll delve deeper into the conversation when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back to The Probe here with me, Carlos Caloni. Let me begin with you, Dr. Ekua Amoakoh. I see you are smiling this evening, so happy. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
What really worked for you this time?
Well, I think it was a combination of a lot of factors. The candidates we had made the job easier. There was no complacency at all on our team. And I think, indeed, the delegates of the party always knew that they had made the right decision in 2023 and that there was no need, even in the midst of all the propaganda that was thrown out. And I actually believe that actually helped us. How it looked like almost everybody wanted to attack Dr. Bawumia and sort of drag him through the mud. I think in the end, that's inured to our benefits. And we are very grateful to the delegates of the party. We are very grateful to all members of the party for rallying around such a visionary candidate so that we can then begin to restructure the party and begin to put on a face that Ghanaians want to see from the NPP. I feel like that's the utmost task that we have. So
how does it see the process from the day you started campaigning all the way to yesterday?
For me, it's been very interesting, very, very, very interesting, because a lot happened before it's even kicked off. And a lot happened that people would never know about. But at the end of it all, we just have to express gratitude. I think the takeaway from all yesterday's events was that we need to focus on unity again as a party. And that has always, that seems to be very important to His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to be able to bring all aspirants together and all factions so that we can prosecute an effective campaign for 2028.
There are those who are raising concerns that his performance this time wasn't encouraging at all.
I don't understand what this problem is. It looks like when it comes to His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, people have, the critique is a little questionable, if I can put it that way, to be very, very civil. You know, just a day before the election, a friend of mine brought to my attention that even though we seem to have good cards, we allow people to spin narratives in ways that shouldn't be so. Because if you look at the history of NPP when it comes to our primaries, no first timer has ever gone and gotten the 61 that His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia got in 2023. But we allow people to spin it in all manner of unsavory ways, to point fingers at the fact that the person that's able to get 61% of the delegates on the first try doesn't have some grassroots appeal. And we allow people to say it to the point that people even began to take that as the truth, even though there was nothing to back that. And again, that just goes into to answer your question. What this election result proves is that in the midst of everything that was said, in the midst of the new entrants that came into the game, in the midst of the extreme level of resources that people put into this contest, the people that stood behind His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia stood firm in the face of all of this, and they were very confident that he is the candidate that will be able to lead the NPP into our next presidency. I think that is clear, and we should not try and belittle the victory that we had. Just like we allowed people to belittle the victory in 2023, this time we will come out and let the...
So you don't see any problem at all with the numbers, dwindling from 2023
so what
to 26?
Would you ask Honorable Kennedy Acheampong? What should he say?
No, you are in the lead, so you need to be concerned about it. Your opponent, I mean, the NDC is saying that is a drop in his popularity in the NPP.
That's why I'm saying that where did this unusual yardstick come from? If you look at his popularity, by looking at the 2023 results, it would have put that matter to bed, that he had a lot more popularity in the party, more than most people that have even come on to be president in the NPP. Now we go to a very difficult election. We were all here. Carlos, I've been here several times. You know the number of unfounded and point-blank ridiculous allegations I had to respond to over this period. There were new entrants. People introduced a lot of resources. Indeed, people tried to make this election about who has what. And in the midst of all of that, the delegates still sat down and made the right decision for the party.
So those may have played some part in actually making...
No, I think this was, I mean, if anybody that follows political campaigns will know that this was very heated. It was very highly competitive. So for you to stand your ground this much, with new dynamics coming in, losing some of your people, betrayals, and you're still able to hold your ground this much, I really think he deserves some applause and not this constant magnifying glass of criticism that seems to be coming his way from the NDC. But I'm not surprised. What do you expect them to say?
Right. We'll come back to you. Ekua Amoakoh, you speak for Dr. Bryan Acheampong. First time, are you impressed with the result you got?
Well, I mean, to start perfectly, we had expectations to win. We cannot be impressed with the results, but of course, we're grateful, like Dr. himself said yesterday, we're grateful to the party, the rank and file. I think that his candidature has done something phenomenal to the party. I'm sure that history will be kind to Dr. Bryan Acheampong. And I mean, there's a very reason why some of us actually decided to support him. In a political party like the one that we have, you need to be able to have people who can prefer and, I mean, espouse divergent views and also be able to be respected in a way that once you decide that you want to unite and reconcile, it is not just mere rhetoric, it's not just paying lip service to it, but then you actually do it. And so, for me, I think that if you take a cursory look at the results, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has won all right, and of course we are congratulating him, and we wish him well. We wish that the conversation around the unity will be something that will be magnanimous from himself and all the other aspirants that have expressed the same position that we all have to unite, go into the 2028 elections and prosecute a campaign that is based on, one, the proper strategy, the architecture is right, and then harnessing the the human resource that we have as a political party. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm emphasizing on that because in times past, just by virtue of people being labeled from faction A, faction B, whatever, there's a certain, if you like, attempt at reconciliation, but it's always lip service.
Is your group worried about that?
No, not at all. I mean, not at all. I mean, I've been in this party for quite a while to understand what this whole conversation around reconciliation.
Do you see any signals this time?
And I don't have any doubt in the magnanimity of Dr. Mahamudu. I have absolutely no doubt that if he says that he would bring everybody together, he would do so. And usually, even in this whole conversation, it's not even about the protagonists. You know, it's about the supporters, the people, the assigns, and everything. Because, you know, politics is a very competitive enterprise. And so what tends to happen is that people are jostling for positions and the influence and how relevant they are in the whole scheme of things.
Okay.
But in the final analysis, it's about making sure that we present a very strong, formidable political party.
And he has shown that by calling Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia yesterday.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing is that, and that's what I'm saying, that you have to take, you know, and this is early days here, less than 24 hours after the actual declaration of the results. But you have to do a proper...
You say you did not meet your expectations. What were your expectations? To win the ultimate, to become flag bearer, or to place second?
No, to win. No, but that's what I'm saying, that if you understand this game, you'll realize that, I mean, even in the last 48 hours, there's certain dynamics and all of that come into play and all that. You go back, you would lick your wounds.
What didn't work for you?
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's not, this is early days yet. But I'm saying that we have a candidate, right, to even do a deep dive into what worked and what didn't work. Will be almost like inimical to the cause that we all want to prosecute. But the point is that you take a cursory look at the results and you do a comparison between the 2023 and the 2026 results. It tells you clearly what the delegates of the party are actually asking the party to do. I mean, the hierarchy, the leadership of the party to do. It tells you clearly what it's meant to do.
Okay.
You can look at various regions and the results there and all of that. You can win all right. But it requires us being very sincere with ourselves and going back to the grassroots and building the party from the base. Okay. And that, for me, I think that is the most important. And then the rest of it will come as we go along.
Right. Let me bring in Dr. John Osae Kwapong. You are a scientist. You've been looking at political space for some time now. What is your own assessment of the process from when the campaign started up to yesterday, the way the candidate themselves conducted themselves and the party itself?
I think we have to commend, the party for having had a very successful election yesterday, incident-free. And I say that because in the lead up to the election, once in a while, I used to have these sort of moments where I sort of cringe at some of the rhetoric. I know that politics is intense. I know that political rivalry can be really hard-hitting. I'm not a big fan of politics that becomes too adversarial in nature. So I used to get worried in terms of, as the time got closer, would it even degenerate further? Are we going to see some clashes on election day and all of that? So I was quite happy and quite relieved to have seen that despite all of the hard-hitting moments throughout the campaign season, that on Saturday everything progressed very smoothly. I also liked the fact that when all was said and done, at least immediately, the losing candidates pledged their support for the winner, as well as pledged to support the party. I like the fact that Dr. Bawumia was also gracious in victory in talking about the need to build unity and all of that. Because when you've gone through a sort of a bruising primary, that has to be one of the things that weighs in on your mind, right? Which is the post-primary period. How do you ensure that everybody can put their differences aside and put party first and the interest of the party first.
What does that say about the candidate Bawumia himself? The fact that he is now open arm, embracing all those who contested him and all that. What does that say about him?
Well, I'm not surprised that he won. In as much as he used to, you could see the intensity, and even when you look at the result, you can also see that those who were trying to make the case that because of the 2024 election results, that the party has to rethink who they want to present in 2028, that you could see that a number of the delegates sort of gave thought to that proposition that perhaps we need to change course. But ultimately, for him to have emerged victory, for me, is testament to the fact that he was still able to convince enough delegates that despite all of the challenges from 2024, right, that you can take your chances with me again as we prepare for 2028. The other thing I like about him is that, and even I have described him even in the past primary, that he's the quote-unquote the establishment candidate, right? That when you tend to look at the party and some of the key voices and faces of the party, they seem to send these signals that he's the preferred person. But he's never taken that for granted, right? If I think back to the 2023 primary, he crisscrossed the entire country, even when all the signals were clear that he was winning. He was winning, or he was the preferred candidate. He didn't take that for granted. He still engaged, the kind of retail politics that took him to every single constituency to engage with the delegates. And I like that about him, that he doesn't take, these things for granted, right? That he believes that even if I'm in the lead or I'm the preferred person, I still have to work for it.
Okay.
That it's not some sort of entitlement mentality.
Okay, but we've seen that he has dropped in terms of if you compare 2023 to 26, and I know Dr. Acheampong doesn't want us to dwell on the fact that the performance dropped, but what could have caused that drop?
I just mentioned that when the election was over and the party announced the date for the primary, there were two emerging narratives, right? Should we keep the same flag bearer for 2028? Or should we change the flag bearer? And those who were making the case for changing the flag bearer really did hit hard at him. A lot of the social media commentary, a lot of the videos I would see, some of the commentary in public spaces, really hit hard at him, looking at the party's performance, pinning it on him. And I believe that narrative from that section, created enough, it resonated with quite a number of delegates that if you look at the percentage, I'm sure some of them started thinking, maybe those who are making the case against retaining him have something to say, right? But eventually, he still emerged victorious. Look, politics is a game of numbers, right? Ultimately, you want the number that gets you over the finish line. And then you can worry about the other things. So he got what, 57, 56, roughly 57. Yeah. So you're thinking, okay, there's another 43 that were willing to say, I think we should change a flag bearer. I'm sure he recognizes that. But I'm sure he would find a way to engage those who didn't even support him to say, look, I understand that you may have had some concerns, but look, now that I have won, here's the path that I believe we can.
We've seen it's not only Dr. Bawumia that has dropped. Ken also dropped. But we've seen Dr. Bryan Acheampong, first time, getting some good numbers. What could have worked in that scenario also? Again,
he also, new entrant, but also had a message. He had his own narrative. He had things that I believe he said that also resonated with almost 2 out of 10 voters. And so again, when you are all fighting to cross the finish line, surely you can't take you can't take all of the delegates. But I think how he positioned himself, the way he went about campaigning, the things he was pointing out, I'm sure contributed to what he gained and took from others. Of course, you can't really tell who he really couldn't.
So his performance could have affected both Dr. Bawumia and Ken, in a way.
Yes, we would not know who it would have really affected. But if you look at Mr. Musa Dankwa's, a lot of, the work that he was doing in the lead up, that I think he pointed out that he was taking a lot more from Honorable Kennedy Acheampong than he was from Dr. Bawumia. But again, at the end of the day,
do you see Bryan Acheampong becoming a second force in the NPP based on his performance in this particular poll?
I would think so. He does bring, something to the party, and so I'm sure this won't be the first time. I mean, I would like to believe this won't be the first time.
Would this be the first time?
Maybe he can tell us, but I don't think this will be the first and last time that he would try. But that, I'm sure, is for the future.
We have a flag bearer now.
Yes.
The focus is to, bring everybody on board,
right,
and then prosecute that agenda.
Okay, I'll come to you. Let's go to Joe Wise. He's a stalwart of the party, and he's also been observing the polls from, day one up to yesterday. Grateful to have you this evening. What is your own assessment of the process from June last year to yesterday?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to just joining a little. We have made a great effort at ensuring that we achieved inclusiveness, openness, transparency, so that none of the contestants would have any opportunity or any basis to complain about unfairness. And for me, that is our biggest achievement. Through that also, we observed that the contestant representatives we work with built such a beautiful set of rapport that whenever any issue came up, they argued and discussed among themselves and reached consensus before we even had to take a decision. It made it so easy and difficult, helpful for our work. For me, that's all that matters. In the end, it is the party delegates who spoke, and their voice is clear. Nobody has any opportunity to say anything has been schemed left or right for or against any candidate. However be it, it is the party that has won.
Yeah, many have described the campaign period towards the polls as very acrimonious. We've heard a lot of name calling and all that. How can the party, rebuild itself from these deep cracks?
How you describe it are your words. But certainly, I think, as I said, what I observed in the meetings I had with their representatives, how I told them at the end of it all that, well, if there is any problem, I think I can count on them to start the process of healing and bringing the contestants together. Yesterday, what I saw after the declaration, the humility with which the others accepted their loss and congratulated the winner is one major step which I think we will follow through. I'm speaking as an outsider, but I believe strongly that the winner, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, I've seen all the signs and he will follow through. I've seen videos of some visiting him in his office today, and they are all very good signs that the future is bright.
What must the NPP avoid doing going into the 2028 election, especially the fact that you have a flag bearer at a very early stage, 2026? You have 2 clear years to get to the polls. What must the NPP avoid doing now before the 2028 election?
In my view, we should avoid being complacent at any stage. We should take the election seriously from now and work towards it. It will be tedious, but it will be worth it. At no point should anybody feel complacent and assume that, oh, this place is easy for us. Every place is as difficult, and it should not be over until it's over.
Now, the 2 former presidents from the NPP, former President Nana Akufo-Addo and John Ajekun Kufuor, did not vote in this particular poll or election. Good move, you think?
Well, to some extent, yes. None of them can say you were for me or against me. I don't think it made much difference. You know, in the end, they allowed the everyday people to make the choice. And they very clearly are happy with the choice that has been made.
And what message did that send to the party? I mean, the grassroots?
That they leave the decision for you to choose. So you don't accuse them of imposing anybody on you.
And so any lessons learned as a party from where you sit, observing, that you would want to share with us, especially for the national leadership to take into account when making decisions going into the 2028 election?
What I fully recommend to them is to make every effort possible to include everyone, every opinion in discussions that affect the future of the party. For me, that is a major breakthrough that made us able to come to the conclusions we drew and had an election that is peaceful. At every stage, we brought the contestants together to discuss every issue and negotiated to reach one. That makes you feel that they are part of the process and they feel that in many ways. I think that leadership should take note of that and try as much as possible to resort to that plan. From this time going, there's no competition, actually. We want all to be on board, respect their views, allow them, listen to them, negotiate on disagreements, and reach consensus so that everybody feels a part of the process.
There are those who argue that Dr. Bawumia's popularity in the NPP is dwindling. If you look at the figures from 2023 and what we have now in 2026, you agree with them? If so, what should he be thinking of doing to increase his popularity in his own party before going out there to seek the vote of the ordinary Ghanaian?
For me, I think even looking at this result in comparison with the previous one, we should be looking also at the spread. The regions he won this time versus what he won the previous time. The constituencies he won this time versus what he won the other time. I think that a lot have changed, and we should not just be looking at the absolute figures. However, as I've said, every vote counts. Therefore, whatever it takes to reach out to everybody, I'm sure the step that is worth taking. I have been monitoring a few of the platforms. It shows very clearly that people appear to have immediately accepted the position and they are changing their tone and discussion. And rather than the preparatory or experiencing or reading on platforms, now it's like more focused on from addressing. For me, that's a very good move, and we should work to improve that.
Thank you so much, Joseph Osae, for speaking to us here on the probe. Let me come in studio and I go to Dr. Ekua Amoakoh.
Hello.
Now, everyone is talking about healing, unity in the NPP. What is Dr. Bawumia's own plans towards that?
I'll answer that question. But before I do, I don't know why we are hanging on this question of reduced popularity. I think it was my good friend Rashid Tanko that said it here yesterday, and you might have liked it so much that you are repeating it. Let's make it clear. Just as Honorable Joe Wise said, in Ashanti region, we had about 62% in 2023. But now, constituencies that we lost, we have been able to take with bigger margins. Just to do a little math.
Right.
When you look at what His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia got in the election, even if you add what Honorable Ken and Honorable Bryan Acheampong got together, he will still beat them. Yes, just, wrap your brain around that. And let's drop this dwindling popularity.
No, those who are making the assertion are making comparative analysis.
So they
from
would,
his 2023
they would always put a
performance
spin on it.
with
the
this one now, the
in
2023
was a little different from this, and everybody admits.
The dynamics are not the same.
The dynamics were not the same. And for him to maintain that almost 57 in the midst of everything that happened is not something that should be belittled, especially as I am telling you that when you add what Honorable Ken and what Honorable Bryan got, he will still have won comfortably. So that is not somebody whose popularity in the party is dwindling. We are not going to allow the NDC to start spinning that narrative so that a month from now I'm still answering that question. It's not
You want
true.
to end it here now?
Yes, it's done. Then now, sorry, you can repeat the question.
Yeah, so I want to know what is Dr. Bawumia's own plan for, healing, unity, building the party back because of the way the whole campaign process went.
Yeah, I think the way he even ran his campaign shows that that has always been in the front of his mind. There were a lot of attacks that came at him that personally, even for me, it was very difficult to walk that thin line that my boss would expect me to walk because, I got infuriated sometimes. But he was able to maintain his calm, keep all of us in check because he was quite sure that the party was going to stand behind him and that the duty of uniting the entire party would fall on him. So from the beginning, he has always played his hand of this game in such a way that he is not a divisive person, or he has not done or said so much that he cannot unite people, or that people that truly want to come and help cannot come to him and help. So I do believe that, just as he said in his welcome address, it's about uniting the party so that we can begin to provide a very credible alternative to the government if we want to make a good run for it in 2028. So that is the focus now, on how to get the party across in 2028. And whoever is welcome and willing to work wholeheartedly, of course, will be welcomed with open arms. He did this in 2023. He was able to bring them back. And now I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the same.
What is his expectation of the other three candidates who have pledged their support?
We can't really have expectations of everybody. I mean, the hope is that they would stand by their words and at least stop the divisive rhetoric and the attacks that have been laid on.
I believe they've stopped now.
I'm quite happy that at least that will stop. Everything else is a bonus. I'm quite sure that we've always, NPP is like a family. Let me just start from there. If you've looked at our history, even from the UGCC times, we always knock heads, people break off, come back, but the elephant always seems to survive it. So I have no doubts that, again, in 2026, we'll be able to get our house in order to be able to prosecute an effective campaign. And what I've also realized from looking at the history of the party is that when the soul of the party unites around someone and we are prosecuting something, even when certain people fall off, it doesn't seem to be the nail in our coffin. Just let's go back to about 2016,
right,
when we lost our general secretary and the chairman of the party a few months to the election. Nana Addo still won the election. So I do think it's about getting the entire base of the party excited, getting everybody that felt disappointed by the NPP government, all our voters that's decided to stay at home. That is our premium task right now, to be able to win back the love of those supporters.
Okay.
And I think that is very clear, something that we are going to...
Any lessons learned from this particular contest? This very one was so heated. It
was very heated.
Very, very heated. Any lessons learned?
I think it's just to be calm. I think that's the only thing that I'm taking from it, is that, try and always remain calm.
What about him from your candidate?
From my candidate, the funny thing with Dr. Bawumia is that he has been through this a couple of times. What we forget is that even when His Excellency Nana Addo was going through all of this with his own primaries and things, Dr. Bawumia was right there. So he has seen it over and over and over and over again. So he was able to go through the entire process with a much more level head than
he didn't get to him, those accusations and all the attack didn't get to him at all?
Not really. I mean, it's like he's a human being who has blood running through his veins. Some of the things are irritating. But what I can tell you on authority is that those of us around always take the things more personal than him. He has seen more of it. He seems to see through it. And I think the one thing about him is his ability to be laser focused. He was laser focused on getting his message to the delegates, and that's exactly what he wanted to do. So we could have seen the worst kind of video. In the next, that meeting, his focus is what are we telling the delegates tomorrow, not what has been said about him, because he's clear in his mind that it's untrue, and it's just because they are competing with him at that point. That's why they have all of that to say. So he was quite sure that, after 31st January, that we would return to calm seas.
What is that one thing he wants to fix to win the 2028 election?
In the party or?
In the party and outside the party.
That one thing, I think that would be a little difficult, but a few things that it's dear to his heart is, of course, the trying to get us united and, trying to bring a semblance of discipline back. Those are things that are very dear, so that we can be organized and be the NPP that people know us to be. And I'm pretty sure we have a lot more exciting things coming up that we'll let you in on.
Your opponents are saying they're going to beat him again.
Which opponents? NDC?
I mean, NDC, of course.
I mean, what do you expect them to say? The NDC they've been more involved in this. They've
been monitoring your elections,
actually. They've been more involved in our primaries than some of the candidates themselves. I'm pretty sure they are more invested than some of the candidates that came up. And it's to be expected, because it's quite clear that Dr. Bawumia was always the most formidable candidate coming out of the NPP. So they've always had their eyes on him from as far back as 2020. What I always take out of this, and with everything that we are doing now, is the NDC's doing well, you know, enjoying some...
NDC is doing well?
They're enjoying some good graces. Let me put it away before I'm quoted as saying the NDC is doing well.
Also, NDC is not doing well.
Carlos, let me finish my statement. They are enjoying some, you know,
goodwill?
I would like to call it honeymoon, a goodwill, you know, they're enjoying some of that. But if you probe what is powering that, you cannot remove the handwriting of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia from it. So I think it will get to a point where Ghanaians will have to decide whether they want the originator of the idea, the man with the rich ideas, or those who are executing it and making some losses. I do think it will get to a point where Ghanaians are ready to listen to that conversation. And when they do listen to that conversation, I think it will be very clear that after this government, the safest pair of hands to put this country in will be that of...
How do you intend to market Dr. Bawumia when it comes to economic management? If you look at the exchange rate today, if you look at all the economic indicators, they appear to be favoring the NDC. So many are asking, how is Bawumia actually going to market himself?
See, this is another propaganda line repeated by the NDC. We can also go back to 2017 and look at how beautiful our economic figures were. We can also look at the videos of what key members of the NDC are saying right now. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, the National Communications Officer of the NDC himself, I think he sat on this set, Newsfile, to sort of give credit where credit was due when it comes to some of the things that are holding our economy together. And when all of those discussions were had, nobody could remove the domestic gold purchase program that was launched in 2021. And for me, I've always said that the effectiveness and the efficiency of that policy alone displays that if Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is given the entire country, when the buck stops with him, things will be managed better. I think that alone, the fact that he was able to bring that up when the country was in distress, when we were having problems, and that it has actually fixed the problem.
He had fixed it?
No, it actually fixed the problem. That you can play the words of Dr. Acheampong from the Bank of Ghana. You can quote him because he credited that. I'm pretty sure you've seen it, Carlos.
I've not seen it.
You haven't seen it? Oh, we had a party and then at the end of
okay, right.
Sami Jemfi also said it here. I'm sure that you saw.
Okay. Let me come to you. I'll come to Doc pretty shortly. When Bryan Acheampong called Dr. Bawumia, he was sure he would support his candidature. What specific support?
Well, I mean, I was actually at the table when he made a call.
Okay.
And, even before that, he had actually spoken to the team, the team, and told us that. I'm sure you've seen that video as well. That
yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, it's an election. We went into the election with high hopes. We haven't achieved what we went in there for, but then it's a democratic process. And as a consummate Democrat, he believed that we should all, including himself, support Dr. Bawumia's candidature. And that's not a difficulty. I mean, I was a core member of Dr. Bawumia's team, Dr. Bryan Acheampong himself, and almost a lot of the people around the table as well. I mean, of course, going into this primary, we felt that we could do something totally different. The party rank and file have spoken. As consummate Democrats, we'll go with what the party is saying. I want to basically touch on this whole conversation around attacks and people attacking people and all of that. Because, I mean, if we want to...
You mean during the campaign
Yeah,
period?
because we want to unite, and if it is out of sincerity, we have to be brutally honest with ourselves that these kind of attacks didn't come from one stable. You understand? And so when you do that, you're not coming from a very strong point. You get others to also go and bring out a plethora of attacks on this other person, that other person. So once we've all agreed that the way to go is to unite, I think that we should be careful with some of these things, because then there are some people, for example, I might have a totally different disposition. There are people who are also quite abrasive and sometimes temperamental, and they will not take it kindly that it's almost as if that the attack is coming from a certain stable. That is not the case. We have to be sincere.
Some of the attacks came from you.
You can give an example. You understand? You can give an example.
No, I'm asking you.
For me, as a
from your camp,
not direct attacks, personal insults and attacks on individuals. No, yes, of course, there's a very hard, competitive campaign. You say certain things that people will be uncomfortable about and all that. But once it's devoid of casting aspersions, insults, and all of that, I think that it's fair game. Once you finish, then
those are some of the lessons.
Yeah, you can come back together.
You agree? Before I come to Doc, you agree that...
But when this thing about attacks, and I've heard it on several platforms and everything, using social media and all of that, there are people, I can pull out supporters of all of these candidates who were saying things against other candidates. You understand what I'm saying? Some of them you saw one, someone, Dr Bawumia, Dr Bryan Acheampong, the 10 sins of Bryan Acheampong, the 18 sins of Mahamudu Bawumia, the 20 sins of Kennedy Acheampong, and all that. It's part of the...
So the attacks,
it doesn't...
came from every angle to every aspirant.
Because we've done that before. I was a parliamentary candidate at a point where they said, let's reconcile. And I remember the late Jake, we went to somewhere in Tema. They brought all the aspirants. They got the former foreign minister, Honorable Shirley Ayoko, to stand there and represent the winners of the primaries. And they got another person from the crowd who was also one of the people who lost the primary to come and say that, we have reconciled. When in reality, the reconciliation never happened.
Okay.
They put some of the members of even the team as part of the constituency, campaign committees and all of that. Not even a single meeting was held. So
for this one to happen, what should happen?
For this particular unity to happen, it is not about Dr Bryan Acheampong, Dr Mahamudu Bawumia, Honorable Ekua Amoakoh, and Dr Twum and Honorable. That is not the unity. The unity is at the constituency level, where maybe a constituency chairman knows that, so-and-so was supporting Dr Bryan Acheampong, and I was supporting maybe His Excellency the Vice President, and because of that, we are going to hound him. And that is where the indiscipline starts from. Okay. When they apply even the discipline unfairly. So when the indiscipline starts, then this unity starts. Because if I err, and by virtue of who I support, I'm going to be punished, and by virtue of who you support, you are not, that breeds indiscipline. So once there's a certain semblance of fairness across board, from the polling station level, to the point where if somebody wants to contest as a parliamentary candidate, by virtue of the fact that they supported somebody, they are not denied a form. You know what I'm saying? And we know that these things have happened in this party before. So for anybody to start talking about unity, we know the reasons why people have acted in certain ways in past. And that's why sometimes the conversation becomes, when somebody complains, they say, the person is bitter. And then when you delve deeper into why this person is supposed to be bitter, it's because the rules have not been applied fairly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All
so
right.
we have to be dispassionate about this.
Let me give 1 minute to Doc to respond, and I give the final word to Dr.
Our time is almost up. I think all I have to say, I'm not going to respond, is to express our utmost gratitude. We've embarked on a very long, intertwining journey. I remember when we started, one of the first things one of my direct bosses, Miracle, said was, we'll come out of this with a lot of cuts and bruises, and he was spot on. We should call him a prophet as well. But at the end of it all, we are out of it. We have a flag bearer. God was good to us, and then we won. The onus is on us to try and take the higher road, which we definitely will, and we have. Especially because of the candidacy of the person, the character of the person that we have. He is very focused on being able to successfully unite the party. So I can tell Eric that your fears of intimidation and this and that, no. Discipline will be applied in the party across board. As soon as the primaries ended, the whole camp of this person is all dissolved. Now it is the NPP and the flag bearer, who is Dr Mahamudu Bawumia.
All right.
So everybody is welcome on board. I'm quite sure, even in the constituency that I vote in, I know they've already started mingling, because we never really were fighting, We were never fighting that much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kwapong. How should this healing be done? Who should lead it?
Well, I think the onus is on not just the flag bearer. I mean, of course, he has a role to play in it. But the party and its executives also have a role to play. And then even, the supporters themselves, right? I mean, ultimately, you have to be driven by what is the most important thing. And it is the interest of the party that must trump every other grievance that you may have had or you may have experienced. And I'm sure that between the party, the candidates, the supporters, you would have to find, ways of not dragging for too long, to borrow her words, the cuts and the bruises that you experienced during the primary, because you still want to be driven by it is the party's interest that really matters at the end of the day. And would you rather hurt the party by holding on to your grievance, no matter how legitimate, or at some point, would you find a way of resolving that grievance so you can ensure that the party's interest is not undermined?
You mentioned victimization, from those who may not have supported.
No, I didn't mention. I'm talking about our past. I mean, certain things have happened in the past.
Of course.
And
the fear that it could repeat itself.
That has resulted in that indiscipline.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And now, once there's indiscipline, then you can also not be united, because people feel that some people have been given almost like a long rope to misbehave. Others are punished, or the whip is cracked. So even this is not even an onus on Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
Right.
On a national,
so the point I was going to make is, how do we prevent that from repeating itself this time around?
It's how fairly, as you say, it's how fairly you treat everyone.
Who should
is
it the party executives
and the party executives,
or the flag bearer?
The party executives. How you apply the rules in the event that you feel someone
has flouted it.
Exactly, has flouted some rules, things like that. I mean, a set of new elections within the party is going to come up, right? Is the way that the primaries were conducted, right, going to even shape some of the way you either do not support a candidate? All of those little things, I think, puts the burden on not just those who lost, but even on, and also not just the flag bearer, but on the party itself and its national executives in terms of how they manage all of these things, for me, would be very important.
Okay. And the fact that the two former presidents did not vote?
I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons why. I mean,
politically, what does it mean?
I don't think it says anything, right? I'm sure if they also voted, now we'll be hounding them and trying to ask them who they voted for, and then now you're going to start wondering, well, did they try to unduly influence the race and things like that? I think the political neutrality in terms of not participating in the vote, I don't think politically was sent any bad or good signal either way.
Will this early flag bearer thing affect the NDC's chances in 2028 in any way?
I'm not sure. I mean, you're talking of a race that is going to be very long,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
But I think 2028 would be a factor of, or would be a number of things, right? Who the NDC picks, how the economy is looking like, the disposition of Ghanaians, things like that. So we'll see how all of that goes in the next. But at least Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has time now to do all the things he wants to do to position himself for 2020.
Do you expect the NPP to start campaigning any moment from now? Or you expect them to wait till 2028?
Oh, I don't expect them to wait till 2028. But I also hope that they would pace themselves, right? I mean, 3 years is a long number of years to keep campaigning,
sustain the message.
Sustain the message, the momentum, and all of that. So probably they'll just pace themselves, pick it up, and then who knows, by the time we get into 2028, intensify. But I just hope that, the 3 years doesn't become, 3 very long years of campaign.
What's your plan immediately? 1 second.
I don't believe it will be long, just as you said. I think we'll definitely pace ourselves and do more of listening. You know, we need to make sure that we're giving the Ghanaian people what they want. We need to understand their concerns.
All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Ekua Amoakoh speaks for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and Ekua Amoakoh is the spokesperson for Bryan Acheampong, as well as Dr. John Osae Kwapong, fellow for democratic development. My name is Carlos Kaloni. Thank you so much for watching. This has been The Probe. Bye-bye.